Hey there guys, my name's John Campea. Thanks for visiting my movie vlog. You know, we talk a lot about how all television and movies are all purely subjective. It's art, and that means art is going to hit people in different ways. 10 people see a piece of art, they're going to have 10 different experiences with it. But the most subjective thing I think about any kind of entertainment is comedy. What makes you laugh may not make the next person beside you laugh. And it doesn't mean that one thing's better than the other, but it's just when it comes to having humor and comedy and things that make us chuckle and giggle and laugh out loud, it really depends from person to person. Now, with that in mind, I was asked recently by a few people to talk about what are my all-time favorite television sitcoms. There have been a lot of great ones over the years, so I thought I would put together my list of what I thought were the best of the best. Now, before I get to my top 10, I thought I would mention some 10 other sitcoms that don't quite make it into my top 10, but they do deserve at least honorable mention. MASH. How the hell do you take a wartime medical drama concept and turn it into one of the most beloved all-time comedy shows? Not sure, but they found a way. Three's Company, John Ritter's masterpiece of a show that is still talked about and laughed about to this day. Curb Your Enthusiasm, it's coming back, baby. Night Court, Dan is one of my all-time favorite sitcom characters. I'm unapologetic about that. Taxi. Very few shows can be considered as influential as this groundbreaking show did, of course, introducing most of the world to Danny DeVito. Scrubs. One of the best bromances you're ever going to find in television sitcoms, and also some of the most memorable characters. The Flintstones. Yes, the Flintstones. I still go back and watch these shows and laugh my ass off. And look, if you like a lot of the modern day comedies like Rick and Morty, Simpsons, Family Guy, Archer, a lot of them owe a huge debt of gratitude and probably wouldn't be around today if it wasn't for the Flintstones. WKRP in Cincinnati. Dr. Johnny Fever spinning the hits. Married with Children. To this day, YouTube studies show that for as far as clips from old television shows go, Married with Children clips are among the most viewed. And rounding out the honorable mentions list, Cheers. You know, sometimes you just want to go where everybody knows your name. Now, I know for a lot of you, some of those shows on my honorable mention list, you guys would have in your top 10, or maybe you've never even seen before. So now we get into my top 10. Now, I'm going to give these 10 in no particular order, okay? I'm not counting them down from 10 to 1. These are just the 10 sitcoms that I have found make me laugh the hardest, have the longest standing memory retention. I mean, you think about these shows more and more. They were influential and they were big hits. Okay, so with all that criteria out of the way, here's my top 10 favorite sitcoms of all time. I'm going to start with a show that's still on TV right now, Modern Family. Yes, it does kind of follow that common trope that we see in a lot of shows today of the fake documentary where the cast of the show are being followed around by cameras, but it's a formula that they've found a way to make it work. And it especially works incredibly well in today's modern context. Does this show work as well back in the 1980s? Maybe not. But today, it's incredibly relevant. It's very well written. It's very sharp. It's very funny. And like I said, that big R word again, it's relevant. Next up, one of the all-time classics. Didn't actually run on air for all that long, but it is one of the most famous and iconic sitcoms of all time. Gilligan's Island. To this day, it has retention value. You go back and you watch this thing, it's got rewatchability out the ears. You can name all the characters, even though this is a show that came out way before a lot of us were born. It's just that good. The Simpsons. Yes, it's had a lot of years that didn't live up to high standards, absolutely. But it's had more hit seasons than misses. And you're talking about a show that has had longevity like no others. This show has been on air longer than a lot of you guys who are watching this video have even been alive. How many shows can boast that kind of success? Parks and Recreation, another show that follows that fake documentary style. And a lot of people like myself, when it first came out, thought this looks just like it's an Office ripoff. It's even on the same network, but it was so much more. Rich characters. It introduced a lot of people to Chris Pratt for the first time. It's incredibly heartfelt and funny, and I was really sad when the show ended. The fifth show on my list is Frasier, the second show on this list to make it into the top 10 that's actually a spinoff from another show. A lot of people forget The Simpsons was a spinoff of the Tracy Ullman Show. Frasier was a spinoff of the honorable mention show Cheers. And a lot of people kind of scratched their heads when they thought, really, out of all the rich, fantastic, funny characters on Cheers, you're doing a spinoff show of Frasier Crane, and yet it actually, in my opinion, exceeded the original show. It's a very different show from Cheers, but it worked out beautifully. Still, a lot of episodes to this day you can just sit down and watch, and they're incredibly rewatchable. I Love Lucy. Not just because it's a classic and everybody knows I Love Lucy. it stands the test of time. It is still hilarious to this day. You can sit down with people, as I have, who have never seen an episode of I Love Lucy, pop it on, and you will laugh your guts out. Yes, it's got some of the most iconic stars of all time. Yes, it's got an incredibly recognizable name, but that's not why it's on this list. It's on this list because it deserves it, because it's that good. All right, the seventh show I put on this list, I'm very uncomfortable with. I kind of don't want to put it on the list, but I made the decision. I'm making this list based on the merits, and do they meet all the criteria that I talked about at the beginning? So I kind of got to have it on here. It's the Cosby Show. Okay, so let's just for a second put everything we now know about Bill Cosby to the side for just a moment, okay? Very few shows in television history have been powerhouses like The Cosby Show. Entire shows changed, entire networks changed their lineup schedule strategies to try to avoid this juggernaut that was The Cosby Show. It was hilarious and funny. It was socially applicable at the time, and it just had a lot of really heartfelt, warm characters that we grew attached to and love. Everybody wanted to be a member of the Huxtable family at that time, and so yes, modern day controversy aside, I'm very uncomfortable with it, but Cosby Show deserves to be on this list. Talking about influential sitcoms that pretty much influence almost every sitcom that comes out today, Friends. A lot of people mistakenly just kind of throw that one away. Just that one was for teenagers, stuff like that. No, it wasn't. This was a brilliantly written show with really developed characters, and it got you on board as audience members just following along with their lives. Yes, it was an episodic show, but they also had long-running themes throughout the show as well that ran across all their seasons. It was a hit for a reason, and it still stands up to this day. Friends deserves to be on the list. 2 shows left. Now, like I said, this list is in no particular order, but I gotta say the number 1 spot would have to be between these 2, and I'm not going to name which one I think is number 1. I'm just going to name them in no particular order, okay? But we're going to start off with The Office, and it's the North American version. Yes, I know it's the cool thing to say that the UK version was the better version. It's not. This North American version exceeded the original UK version in almost every single way. Of course, being produced by Ricky Gervais. Ricky Gervais, who's of course starred in the UK version, produced the North American version as well, so he had his hand in that. It's a brilliant show that kind of kicked off the modern trend of the fake documentary style. And then lastly, and also obviously a contender for the number 1 sitcom of all time, is Seinfeld. To this day, people talk about the one about this, or the one about that, or the one about mastering your domain, or the one about that. Like, people, you know what people are talking about just by the mention of the show. It's almost impossible to imagine that next year, 2018, will mark the 20th anniversary of Seinfeld going off the air. That's how long it's been off the air. And the fact that it's so stunning to us to believe it's been off the air that long is a testament to how ingrained it is in our pop culture. It's an incredible show. Okay, so again, my list of top 10 in no particular order, the best sitcoms of all time. Modern Family, Gilligan's Island, The Simpsons, Parks and Rec, Frasier, I Love Lucy, The Cosby Show, Friends, Seinfeld, and The Office. Now, the best thing about things like this is all of us will have different lists. I'm sure some of you are probably asking out loud at your computer screen, where the hell is Big Bang Theory? Where the hell is How I Met Your Mother? Where's The Jeffersons? Lots of great shows in history. I'm curious to know, what would you say are your top 10 sitcoms of all time? Share your list with everybody here. Jump into the comments section below and leave your thoughts. And listen, guys, while you're here, take a second and click on that subscribe button. Become a subscriber to my YouTube channel, and make sure you're following me on social media on Facebook and on Twitter, just at John Campea. That'll do it for me, guys. Thanks a lot for joining me, and until the next video, bye-bye.